So the next one we're going to go to is the Red Talon forward operating base. I think this is the third most powerful. It costs you 1,500. It can be a little difficult to pull out, but it only has one small slot and only one large slot. But what it does do is it's a great introduction for players who haven't played Daybreak to get used to what those facilities can do for you. Right? There's a Clio core that you can use right from the beginning. There's a bunch of other stuff that I'll let the base professionals talk about. But essentially, I'm going to leave this up while they're talking about it and while we travel. And then when we get there, I'll take it back down. Okay.
I will answer one quick question that came up. The heavy weapon on Joe's back is the coffee can mace, which you can construct with what combination of facilities, Joe?
So the coffee can mace it's from the forge, and you have to have metalworking, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
So, or I guess it's just metalwork, not metalworking. Sorry about that.
But yeah, this base was another was one of the crazy idea bucket things we wanted to try with Trumbull Valley. For a while, Andy from the narrative team was really wanting to have a base that you could, like, where the player could interact with mission content to kind of unlock built-in features. And this, we decided to kind of theme it around Red Talon, of course, because of the history with the area. And using just the existing Daybreak facilities was a good kind of starting point because players were already familiar with them, like we said, and not very many, like we don't expect the majority of the player base to have tried Daybreak and or find Daybreak fun because everyone's taste in gaming is different. So this is a great chance for players to kind of experience that. Although we had to make some concessions to make sure that it wasn't like more powerful necessarily than the existing facilities, because these ones are locked down, the other ones you can pick up, and the let's see, the other I'm losing my notes here. We also named them a little bit differently to make up for that because we didn't want players just confusing like going and expecting these facilities to be 100% the same as the ones you could buy from Daybreak and feel like their prestige was wasted on buying those.
Yeah.
So here we are at the Red Talon forward operating base, and so as you can see here, there are a couple of spots. Once you clear that out, that becomes your small slot over there. So once that little connex over there is cleaned up, that becomes your small slot. Now, one of the great things about this is these facilities down here. You can call in help to get them all back up and running, and you get to interact again with Chavez. It's super great. I don't want to go too far into what the narrative is because I think Geoffrey's going to be covering that in our next official stream, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But you come down here, you get some help from Chavez, you complete a bunch of missions, and probably my favorite thing about this base. My favorite thing about this base is that right there. So when the power is on, this thing lights up like a Christmas tree, literally, like red, green, and white, and you can see it from like halfway across Fairfield. It is absolutely beautiful at night, and then with this backdrop here against Mount Tanner, it's one of my favorite spots in the game. It's just absolutely beautiful over here.
Yeah, that was the Valkyrie team who's been helping us out with content. They came in and they did some auxiliary help with lighting the bases, and one day one of them's like, "Do you want the Ferris wheel to light up?" And I'm like, "Why? If I ever said no, I'd quit my job, right?" So
who
they
doesn't want that?
Yeah, they made the colored lights, and it looks fantastic, and I love it.
Now, I've also been on this base a couple of times, and in terms of strategy, this little thing right here has come in super helpful more than once. I'm sad to say, or maybe I'm happy to say it. I don't know, but this little
thing.
this little thing, this wall, like the way we
Yeah,
just
the
climb
escape
over
wall.
it.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be a Daybreak forward operating base. So this was,
And like the earliest
yeah,
version of the base didn't
yeah.
have regular doors either, right? It was just we needed to put real doors in there for the sake of sieges. Unfortunately, sorry players, but it was fun while it lasted.
It would be sad if the only things that could get over the wall were ferals, right? Make all sieges just fully ferals.
Yeah.
Especially in lethal.
There were a couple questions. Yeah.
Does the Clio core in this base cost prestige?
It does not. It costs influence instead, and just like as we mentioned, how we don't expect the majority of players to. We don't want to force players to play Daybreak either in order to experience all of the base's content. So if you don't have prestige points, you don't need them on this base. You can just spend influence. It still costs. I think it costs a little bit more in terms of influence to prestige ratio than you're used to with just spending prestige points, but it's still cheap enough that I feel like you'll get the benefit you want out of it. We definitely talked about whether or not we wanted to incorporate any kind of prestige thing into this base, and with the other risks that were involved in it, we lean towards no, but it doesn't mean we will necessarily say no to that forever. We might look at it in the future.
The other thing I liked about this base was I had to create some new art objects for it to help me flesh out the stuff, and I used that opportunity to update the look of all the Daybreak facilities that you got from playing Daybreak as well. So they've all gotten a fresh coat of paint in the red Talon color scheme. I caught a little bit of hell on Reddit for it, but you know, that's the price you pay.
Who doesn't catch hell on Reddit when a new thing comes out, though?
Truth.
Right? Like somebody's gonna not like it somewhere.
So we had another question about why only the Red Talon base has quests for upgrades, and the simple answer is because we had never done it before. We had to do some. We had to kind of put our facilities system to the limits with making this content happen, and when we make new missions, we also, especially if they are based around certain characters, we want to make sure we have voice acting for them. So the amount of time involved, like we had to plan really far ahead in order to make that voice acting, make sure we had those assets ready. So it like I said, if this base is successful, I have no idea what the future of State of Decay will bring, but if we look into more facilities that offer quests, this is our proof of concept to see if players respond well to it, if it works well with our development pipeline, that kind of thing.
And we also brought back the shootable bell.
Okay, so only one question, Brant. Are you ready to run?
Oh, you're going to shoot the bell?
Yeah.
I'm running to the car right now.
All right, so here we go. All right, let's do it.
Oh, that's right. You guys are on lethal too.
All right, you're driving. You ready to drive?
Yeah, I'm ready to drive now.
All right, it's 3 o'clock. Let's go.